Everyone, we wanted to take a quick moment to thank all the listeners, the viewers, and of course the patrons out there. The team here at Vectorsigma hopes that we can bring a little levity and a distraction from the weight of the real world. Time is always precious, but that has become even more obvious now. We want to say that we really do appreciate everyone out there that's spending their time with us.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Alright everybody, welcome back to Vectorsigma.info. This was a round 2 game between two of my bracket members. This is the Windcharger General Optimus Fangry Bold deck against the Combo Control deck. And we're going to get an inside look at some of the strengths and weaknesses of both of these decks here. The control deck started 1-0 in the event, and Decado, playing the General Optimus Windcharger Bold deck, started 0-1, respectively, losing. And these games are going to be very interesting because Neil has some definitely missing pieces to some of the things that Decado can do, and you're going to see kind of the strength of this deck, well, more like the weakness of this version of the control deck. So here, he gets to start off, and that's 10 damage. He swings on turn 1 at Springer, and he deals 8 damage to the Springer. That's already half Springer's health, so now, pretty much for the rest of the game, Neil has to try and be shields up. He doesn't have much of a choice to even attempt to let his Springer get attacked again, because if it does, it's likely going to get KO'd. So from the very early on, he has to start digging and finding answers and ways that he can try and protect himself. The good news is that for the next 2 turns, he has some easy force fields. And when I say force field, I mean like his guys, especially this fire drive and that, brawn. Like, they both just act as barriers to get through to try and KO the Springer. And Neil probably already has about 6 or 7 cards in hand. He flips, discards down to 3, draws the 5, and then draws off Fire Drive, which is 6. So he's already at 6 cards. So he gets to just pick at the Windcharger here for a few damage. But Neil isn't necessarily trying to KO anything yet. Like, it would be great if he could find a way to at least get rid of one of these characters to have one less turn he has to worry about EMP waving. But the early on for Neil, his plan is just simple. Alright, I need to get set up, I need to get the cards I need in my hand. Where Decado is the opposite. Decado just wants to KO something every turn. Now this could be a tough decision for Neil because he's probably, I'm sorry for Decado, because he's weighing the option of, alright, can I KO the fire drive, and then do I want to KO the fire drive? To me, I think you'd want to KO the fire drive because you need to take the PTT turn away. But what I don't like about this play particularly is I think I would have put the weapon on Optimus here instead, and I definitely just would have took the fire drive off the board, because even if Neil decides to turn around, discard 7 cards, and KO a character, like, that's fine, because it's not the end of the world there. But, I mean, he gets to, because he doesn't get to 10 here, so it's, he is at 4, 7, 8, 9, and that's kind of like the problem, where, like, if he just would have flipped Optimus and swung with Optimus, he would have been at 9, 10, 11, and he would have had a better shot at getting there. I'm not sure if he gets there regardless, but what this does is it leaves opportunity for Neil to have the piece of tyranny and just get a couple free turns out of it. And like I said, like Neil can't win the game in one attack. He just can't. So even if you do KO the fire drive, it's completely fine, because if he decides to go and discard 7 cards to KO Decado, well, then it's not a big deal, because you still have 2 other guys that you can swing with. Now what Neil did there was he played the Reclaim and he got his conversion engine back, and that's a big deal for Neil because he needs that conversion engine to start the lock. But it looks like to me that he's still digging for EMP waves potentially. Yeah, he's at 7 cards. Yeah, and it looks like he already has the EMP wave, so what he's doing is he's taking his best attack possible and he's just weighing that out there because he knows he's going to EMP wave. So he gets to just deal 7 damage to something here. And then he still protects himself because he's going to conversion engine, flip into bot mode, and then he's going to play EMP wave to prevent the General Optimus from its attack. I think at this point we may have lost Decado a little bit here, so yeah, he's coming back. He was a little glitchy during the match here. So we have a flip the bot mode, and he has the Piece of Tyranny. So he didn't have the EMP wave, but he had the Piece of Tyranny. And this is what I was talking about with the fire drive last turn. If you KO the fire drive, you take away that play, and that's technically 1 less EMP wave. He only has the 1 Piece of Tyranny in the list, actually. So, it was basically like being utilized as a 4th EMP wave. But you're going to see that this is the big changing point here in the match. Neil did not flip his Sergeant Springer back to an alt mode, and he goes off and he gets the confidence, he gets the ancestral, he plays the wish, and he goes and gets the EMP wave. However, he never flips the Springer, and this is where it gets ugly because he's going to go into this combat step and then he's going to realize that he had forgot to flip the Springer, and the moment he does that, he knows that conversion engine now doesn't keep him safe, and this General Optimus can probably just tee off on the Sergeant Springer. So yes, he gets the KO Windcharger, but right, so he picks up the dice here, and at this point he realizes, like, oh no, I messed up. I can't get back to bot mode because you can't use conversion engine to go to the same mode, and because of that, he leaves his Springer very, very, very vulnerable to this attack. And here you go, you get the General Optimus play. Flip, you get a Javelin, so that's 2 damage already, and then you get a Reckless Charge. Now he has a 10 attacking Optimus, and Neil just knows it's already over, so he just scoops up and they want to go to game 2. So Decado he didn't have like necessarily like a straight plan for combo, but what he does has is Optimus Battlefield Legend, Optimus Battlefield Legend, and that's a pretty good character against combo. It's not as good as like Thrust was in Wave 4 to answer this, but it's still pretty good in the grand scheme of it all, and especially in a orange bold deck. With the combat modifiers that that Decado is playing. And it's also that Not King Neil's deck is way more reliant on having the lock, and he has a lot less blues than some of the other combo decks you've seen in the past. So like he doesn't have the extra paddings to load up on defense, and He doesn't have like the extra double blues in his deck and stuff like that. So he's definitely more shields down and in the idea of just being blue and way more reliant on having the MP waves all the time. Which the deck is very efficient in acquiring the setup, and to be truthful, it's a very easy setup in general. Um, where it's just a very baseline play where it's just like, okay, my these are my options. This is what I need to do every turn. I just need to get to an EMP wave every turn, and I'm gonna spend my turn flipping to alt mode once, drawing 2 cards, playing a showing off or playing a confidence, drawing another, finding more ways to draw 2 cards, and just every turn he's just picking at his deck like 2% at a time, uh, just to keep the lock going. But the problem with that is that what we found out throughout the tournament is it's okay against decks that do not pressure you, but any deck that actually has a Peace through Tyranny can kind of just ruin your day in one turn. You don't really have an answer. This current variation of the list didn't really have a successful answer to it, and it was running counter espionages to try and be proactive and get them out of the hand before they can play them. But with a character like Battlefield Legend, where you can simply, flip Battlefield Legend and get it back from your scrap pile, like Neil doesn't have a way to interact with that. Perceptor can just flip and find a Peace through Tyranny off flips, and once again, like he doesn't really have a way to interact with those abilities. So suggestions that I've made is trying to fit Spy Master's Ruse and Infiltrate. This way, it's a little bit of a extra layer of protection if you want to go this route. Yeah, Neil decides to go first this time, and that makes a lot of sense. Um, because if he just lets Decado go first, he's gonna lose like an entire turn to like get any type of setup. But we'll see this game can unfold very quickly for Neil and show exactly how much General Optimus can do. It's not a bad start either. You get to go get this weapon. So you're guaranteeing either a General Optimus at 10 attack, or I'm sorry, either an Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend at 10 attack, or a General Optimus at 8 attack. And what I don't necessarily like about this next line of play here is I don't think you can guarantee the General Optimus on this attack is going to KO this fire drive. And I think if your plan is to not KO the fire drive, then I think you need to flip Battlefield Legend here, just so like you have a guaranteed way to get back a Piece of Tyranny from your scrap pile, if it so happens to be flipped. Um, but he gets to the 10 attack here, and Neil gets the 1 blue. Um, your other option that you could have looked at is that you could have actually just sent Battlefield Legend a 10 attack plus the flips and see what he picked up, and he'd probably definitely KO him. Um, and I know Decado after the match told me that he was worried about Neil, cracking back and sacrificing his cards, which it's a legitimate thing. Like it could have happened. Neil could have just, sacrifices his whole hand to try and KO the Optimus Prime, but chances are, he's not gonna be able to get that attack. Like even if he gets the 6 plus the 3 to 9 plus 7 cards, I mean, like he had to sacrifice his whole hand. And if Jamie just flips a couple blues, if Decado flips a couple blues, then like and his Battlefield Legend lives, then the game is just over. So that would be the commitment that you'd have to make. But what we'll see here the next turn is, we're at a very early stage of the game, and if you don't have the conversion engine here to take an attack away from Optimus Prime, you're gonna be in a world of hurt. And Neil playing confidence is, he's definitely digging. He gets the Peace to Tyranny, so like he gets to buy himself a turn. and he has the conversion. So he was able to get both things. So even with the Piece of Tyranny, like he's still gonna be able to flip to the other mode and draw more cards at the end of the turn. Now I did think that this was maybe a slightly weird play with attacking with the Brawn first. I'd probably just, go all in with the big guy first, but you never know. Only because you played the Piece of Tyranny and you get to go again anyway. Like, because the moment you play the Piece of Tyranny, if you can't find the EMP wave at this point, then he's going to get to attack your Springer now anyway. So he flips the lot mode, he draws a couple more cards. And it still looks like he's very much digging for an EMP wave to try and get out of this. Yeah, because then there's the showing off. Like, this whole thing is just him trying to buy time and find the cards that he needs. Because I believe Neil flipped an EMP wave on the first flip or two of the game, so he only had one other one in his deck, and either that or he has to wish for it. So he's basically, that's what like these early parts of the turn are. Like, all right, I play Confidence, I look for 2 cards, and like there's another EMP wave there, so like he loses another wave on this attack. And this is definitely what can happen in the combo. It's not guaranteed that you're always just going to draw that wave. If you flip it on attack or defense, that's 1 less 1 in your deck. And like he's counting how many cards left he has, so like he's trying to figure out like, okay, what do I need to do to get this other wave? So you get to flip to bot mode. He has the 7 cards. He's very good at showing the 7 cards. So we get the Brainstorm into the Ancestral. Ancestral reveals showing off and Holomaster, so he gets 2 cards. And then we have the Wish. And he gets to go get the EMP wave. And then on the stack, he gets to play the EMP wave. So this was his best way of kind of trying to protect his characters. He takes away the biggest threat attacker. Decado draws, and we're gonna get to see a pretty explosive turn next turn. So we have a Matrix. We upgrade his character. And then we have the Piece of Tyranny. So now he's going to Piece of Tyranny is General Optimus, and he's going to gain back initiative. And we're going to get to see him and see what this Optimus is capable of. I always love a good Battlefield Legend turn. So now the Battlefield Legend starts at 9 attack here, and he gets to play a Reckless Charge. So he goes to 13. He swings at Springer. He reveals a Reckless Charge and a Piece of Tyranny. So now that puts him to 16 with pips, and then 20 with the second Reckless Charge play. So Neil has to find, half the blues in his deck at this point to keep his guy alive. Because even if he flipped 2 blues there, the Springer still would have been KO'd. So like it quickly shows how good of an attack that was, and the 20 to just straight up 1-hit KO the Springer really secured the matchup there, and ended it right on the spot. And that was just 1 Piece of Tyranny. And like I said earlier, that's what we were talking about with the difference of not having a reactive answer to the piece of tyranny, and I'm not sure Neil had the time in this particular game or this particular setup to even put down a Spymaster's Roof, etc. But I think you need to change your line of plays and fit ways to be able to protect yourself, because you can't just lose to Peace to Tyranny in a meta with Titan Masters, etc. Because everyone's playing this card. Even blue decks are playing this card. So you definitely leave a gaping hole in your deck because of that card. But we've learned a lot through the event, and I believe Neil is definitely going to be able to make some changes and correct his deck and maybe give it another whirl. But all in all, thanks for watching today, guys. This was our round 2 of Group 1's bracket. Each of these players ended up being 1-1 at the end of this round. Have a good day, guys.